Well, I believe in good vibrations is what creates a beautiful nation. All you need is the will to do right, do right, do right.
And I just got the notice. And we're live. Welcome to a brand new episode of I'm Not Even Supposed to Be Here Today. I am your host, Jay Fry, and with me, who is always here with me. How's it going, Sean?
Yeah, it's going. It's Monday. Shitty Monday, but it's a Monday.
Yeah. And as we're all aware, at any moment, Steven could just invite himself to the stream, so we'll be on the lookout for that. Because that's a thing that now happens.
Apparently.
Just invite yourself on a live stream. You got any stories for us before we get started, or?
Went to Vegas.
Isn't that supposed to stay in Vegas?
Well, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But I went to Vegas, and I am no longer in Vegas. So I just thought I'd say that Vegas is done with COVID. It was it was normal Vegas. It was 100% crowded, normal Vegas. The only difference is that the staffs were wearing masks. And since they're robbing you, that sort of makes sense. So I'll allow it.
Beat me to it. Yeah, for some girls, that helps increase the tips. Especially if they're wearing just masks.
Yeah. Yeah. They were definitely wearing masks and definitely hanging the boobs. So normal Vegas, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's states like California and Florida that have a high amount of very fit, sexy-bodied women with butter faces. Only other place, Vegas. And technically, Vegas doesn't have a beach. It is just beach.
It's not even beach. It's horrendously dried, parched, nasty rock that they've built a metropolis on top of, and holy crap, is it ever congested and crowded. I miss the old Vegas. That's all I gotta say.
Black Magic, I don't need your handicap. I would have always won this fight. I don't know what yeah, I got you, bro. I got you. So yeah, Sean was in Vegas. I was working on my shotgun, and there's a plastic safety that is in the forums. They always say it fails, like several hundred rounds, and then it cracks, and it should be replaced with a steel or metal shotgun safety. So I figure I would do that in advance. And there's a spring and a ball bearing that goes in a detent that keeps it locked in its position, and you have to force it to roll it to the other position. Well, the ball bearing is drilled in a hole, and then the safety marker, they use the same size drill hole to make the safety indicator, which is just a red dot that they use paint for. Mm-hmm. The same size as the hole that the bearing goes in. So the bearing rolled forward into the hole, and now I have to wait 3 to 5 days for a new bearing that only comes in packs of 100.
Couldn't just go out and buy a BB?
Yeah. Well, no, because BBs are .177 caliber, and this is a 1/8 inch ball bearing.
Wow. Okay.
So it's a little bit smaller. But so if anybody needs 99 bearings, I'll sell them to you pretty cheaply. So like 5 sets, guys. Because I got a couple more shotguns that make have that same ball bearing issue. So yeah, it won't come out of the hole. I tried.
Is that going to screw up actually activating the safety? Is it going to like pinch and not let it roll forward?
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
But I tried tape, like regular Scotch tape. Then I got aggressive with Gorilla Tape. Then I did bubble gum. Then I bought a hot glue stick and just lit the end on fire and mooshed it in.
Yeah.
And then I did super glue with the head of a pin, and then with a throwaway Allen key with JB Weld. And apparently nothing works. Oh, and it's non-ferrous because the magnets didn't work either.
Have you tried gravity?
I have. I've turned it upside down. I've whacked it against shit. I'm thinking now there's a vacuum.
Could be.
Because I also, after everything, grease in an attempt to just friction it out.
Okay.
So there's that.
What the hell is
If
going
it
on?
really needs to come out, a tiny little a drill press will work.
Or you could take the whole thing apart.
No, it's just a divot.
Okay.
It's not completely through the. It's not a hole. It's just a divot.
Oh, okay.
For the safety. But I can just never put the safety on. It's not actually an issue. My first shell. I have the gun 24/7, fully loaded in the mag tube, but no round in the chamber. Because Mossbergs aren't known for their drop safeness.
Very true.
So that's fine. And if I'm holding the gun, I'm not going to drop it. That's the whole fucking reason I spent $70 on the sling for it. But so that was the fun of my. It's literally just next to me, in its rack, mocking me. I was so concerned about this spring flying out that when the detent rolled, I didn't even, or when the bearing rolled, I didn't even care.
Yeah.
I was like, but I got the spring. Like, oh no, actually, this turned out to be more important. Son of a bitch.
Sounds like an exciting weekend.
It was infuriating. But,
yes.
I expect it to just pop out sometime and break my safety glass in the glasses I use when using shotgun. But it's not like it's a part rattling around inside the receiver. It's on the outside of the gun. It'll eventually fall out.
I was going to say, one blast and you'll probably knock it loose.
Mm-hmm. All right, so going to go from molesting guns to molesting my childhood. God damn you, Kevin Smith. For those of you who are not aware, He-Man came out, and fucking spoilers. There's just going to be goddamn spoilers. If you dig it, no. Yeah. If you haven't watched it, you're probably not going to watch it. It's 5 episodes. It's just under 2.5 hours. No, Frags didn't succumb to COVID. Sadly. But let's get into it. Kevin Smith, because he hates your childhood and himself. This fucking picture of him crying is just stupid. Yeah, so first episode of He-Man comes out, and it's everything you remember from your childhood, except Duncan, who is Man-at-Arms, is being replaced by Tila, and it's the proudest day of his life. In this particular timeline, because it switches, there was the original 83 timeline, then there was the retconned 2002 He-Man, where it went from Tila being Duncan's daughter to Tila being the Sorceress's daughter, the Sorceress of Grayskull, and her dad being Fisto at one point, and her dad being Duncan at one point, and in the same 2002, a clone of the Sorceress, a magical clone of the Sorceress at a younger age, which is what they're going with in this retcon, because there were some allusions to it. Well, they alluded to it repeatedly. But, god damn, it just... In 1986, there was a Transformers movie that came out. Orson Welles starred in. He played whatever the world creature was. Like Gravitron or Graviton or something or other. Omnitron. And Hasbro killed off Optimus, Starscream, Megatron, and others, so that they could usher in a new line of toys. Mm-hmm. And all the kids wanted to see it, and it was a $6 million production, and it made back a little over $5 million before they stopped. Killing off your main character does not pay out in the way you think it would. And while Transformers was a toy that became a TV show, and G.I. Joe was a toy that became a TV show, and Mr. T and He-Man, they don't get to dictate the enjoyment of children. Your profits do not beat out our imaginations. As a child back in the 80s, all of the 80s, I was a child, we had a certain love. And Stephen Sommers, the director of The Mummy and Van Helsing and G.I. Joe, understood it and tried his best, with some exceptions, to bring G.I. Joe into the 21st century. And unfortunately, the only way that really made sense was to make it an offshoot of the UN. Because they had South Africans on the team, French legionnaires on the team, they had to think of a way to make it make sense in the world that we live in. So they made them part of the UN instead of a part of the army, in which they recruited from the world to get the best of the best of the best. That being set aside, it was fucking G.I. Joe. First episode of He-Man, they gave it, it's merchandising.
Yeah.
They came out and said, what we're going to do is we're going to make He-Man Masters of the Universe, but with murder. And that's the mistake. That's the mistake you make. He-Man killed nobody. But it's not the first time. Dolph Lundgren did a He-Man in the 80s with Courtney Cox for some reason. And it centered more around Courtney Cox and her stupid boyfriend and this magical key of Grayskull bullshit. And it circled around them, it centered around them more than it did the Masters of the Universe series. They were ancillary characters in a He-Man movie, on a Masters of the Universe movie. It's absolutely absurd. There was more about the kid's vice principal and a cop than about He-Man himself. It was ridiculous. And we remember that, and it failed for that very reason. Dolph Lundgren was upset with the final outcome and said he wouldn't make a second one. So it got shelved. And no one learns from this shit. There's a second, with Stephen Summers in the lead, there was a second G.I. Joe that did less well because Channing Tatum was not a household name when the first G.I. Joe came out. And after the second G.I. Joe was done with production, he had blown up with Magic Mike and 21 Jump Street. So they wanted a star power, so they brought in The Rock to play Roadblock. Mm-hmm. And in post-production, Channing Tatum blew up, and they're like, we killed off Duke in the first 15 minutes. So they had to bring him back to do pre-death scenes, which made it about him and Roadblock and Roadblock's kids playing Xbox games and whatnot. But there's a certain point where you have to put your profits aside to make the show that people will like, hence gaining you profit.
Well,
Not the other way around.
The problem with remaking all this stuff from our childhood is that it's basically a cash grab on nostalgia. And, I mean, it's kind of Kevin Smith's thing. You know, he is 100% self-involved, number one. Number two, that self-involvement includes comic books and growing up in the 80s, like, well, I did. And unfortunately, he doesn't seem to have much going for him. I mean, his last set of movies kind of flopped, mostly because of the forced nepotism. I mean, I still enjoyed them for what they were, but he's not on his game like he used to be with satire. Not to mention, you can't do satire anymore. People don't get it, especially in Hollywood. And he's just not... He's too stoned to be the writer he was before. Whether he was stoned before or not, he's constantly stoned now and has a lack of drive and creativity as a result.
Stoned on soy, maybe.
That too. I mean,
there was a running gag in Mallrats about putting your dick in a really uncomfortable spot, and then at the back of a Volkswagen. I don't think you get away with it today, especially when they were referencing the girl was underage, because Ben Affleck was a douche in Mallrats.
Intentionally so, but yes.
Yeah. Unlike everywhere else, he is unintentionally a douche. Black Magic says that he used to like Kevin Smith, to be honest, but he blows now. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I still like some of his stuff, but he's not as good as he used to be. And now apparently he's doing Clerks 3, which, yeah, I'm gonna watch, but I don't have high expectations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he always has an interesting cast. Even when he was first starting out with Clerks, and he was still able to get Rosario Dawson. Pretty sure Rosario Dawson you might know from being the fake fiance of that fuck from Jersey.
Dante.
No, Cory Booker.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that guy.
Yeah, fake fiance.
Gotcha.
God damn. Yeah, just infuriating. And everyone, when they're talking about Kevin Smith, have to point out, like, oh, no. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was masterclass. No. They're semi-enjoyable. I Didn't mind the way he shat on Christianity and Dogma. The cast was great. I think there was a lot of interesting things done there. Alanis Morissette's God, who doesn't talk. That's weird and quirky and fun. Less insulting than some other ones.
Kevin Smith hasn't gotten over the fact that he is a slacker born and bred, like much of Gen X. And our time has passed in that regard. And he doesn't know what to do.
Was Rosario Dawson in Kids?
In what?
Kids?
I don't know what Kids is.
Oh god, Kids is awful. It's it revolves around a bunch of high school kids and their drug use and stealing 40s down their pant legs, and it ends with a girl getting AIDS, and she's passed out drunk on a at a party, and a guy rapes her.
So it's an uplifting story, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, he did get AIDS.
Okay.
I mean, I know Chloe Sevigny was in it, but I do not remember Rosario Dawson. Yeah, Rosario Dawson was Ruby. I didn't remember that. I don't even know who Ruby is. Yeah, Justin Pierce played Casper. It was gross, and you saw a bunch of teenage pubic hair. Yeah. Apparently, that's her first film. They spotted her in Tenet. Fucking hate Kevin Smith. Just they kill off He-Man in the first episode that they have that's building up Tila. They're like, "You're the Man-at-Arms now. We're so happy for you." Oh no, they're attacking Grayskull. Well, lead us, Tila. And by the end of the episode, He-Man has to sacrifice his own life, in which he runs all the power of Grayskull through him while he's already has the power of Grayskull inside him, causing him to explode back to Prince Adam before he gets vaporized by magic. And her seeing that no one else in the group is surprised that He-Man was Prince Adam goes back to the castle where Duncan, her father, tells the king and queen that He-Man's dead, and his mother's like, "Oh, Adam," and he's like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Adam is He-Man." She tells the father didn't know. She tells him he's now grieving for the loss of his son while his wife is grieving for the loss of her son. You kept a secret from me. I'm done with all of you. Fuck off. I'm out of here. And throws down her rank, which you pretty much can't do in any army, and walk away because your butt hurt.
Right.
And
well, you can if you have bitch power, but whatever.
Yeah.
Self-righteous bitch power.
So the father finds out that Duncan knew and kept it from him. He's like, "Sir, on the prince's orders." He gets banned from Eternia, which you really can't do because that's the name of the planet. Fucking dumb. But, yeah. So next episode starts with her with the lesbian side haircut. And she's now a thing. However, they do the next villain they fight is Stinkor, which I hated. But it was hilarious that they brought him back just to bring him back. The skunk with the gas mask. I'm like, that's so stupid. Stinkor. So it turns out Eternia is dying. All of Eternia is dying because the lack of magic. the plants are withering, the magical creatures are dying, and without the swords of power to bring back magic to the world, that it will cease to exist. And she says no, she's not going to do it because secrets were kept from her. I'm like, you live on the planet. The planet's going to stop. Your girlfriend also lives on the planet if she is your girlfriend. What the fuck? Like, how do you not get over that to, what's it called? Live. Good fucking God.
So the only question I've got is that they're going to have to bring in She-Ra and what was the bad guy in She-Ra? Something Moniac or something. I don't remember, but he was He was much better of a bad guy than Skeletor ever was.
Yeah.
Hordak. That's what it was. Hordak.
Yeah.
They're going to have to bring that in eventually, and, She-Ra will end up saving the day. Unless, they rewrite it and Teela becomes She-Ra, which is probable at this point.
No, she was destined to be a sorceress. So we will see. But I don't have much faith in that. She-Ra or She-Hulk.
I'm still holding out hope for She-Hulk. It was one of my favorite comics as a kid.
The chick playing her is 5'3", bro.
Yeah, I know. But, I mean, the world's a little shy of Brigitte Nielsen's at this point, so what are you going to do?
I must be some Brigitte Nielsen. Circa somewhere between Cobra and Beverly Hills Cop 2.
So 1986 Brigitte Nielsen?
Exactly. Just that year.
Just that year.
Isn't that Thundercats? Is that Thundercats?
No.
What's the villain?
Thundercats is something else. That's Lion-O and Chitara and Panthro and what was the tiger's name? Tagara or something? I don't know.
She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
Thundercats only had a good theme song. That's really all that was.
Yeah, Hordak is She-Ra.
Yeah, the bad guy in Thundercats was Moomra.
California to require vaccine or test for state workers. Wait, this isn't my She-Ra. What the fuck is this? Oh, 2018-2020 TV series and the Princesses of Power. God, this cartoon is awful looking.
Yeah, Steven's saying that he hates it. It's so woke, it's terrible, he says.
Mm-hmm. Like, people don't even realize that Skeletor's blue. That's not a suit. Motherfucker's blue. He wears as much clothes as He-Man does. He's just a blue motherfucker.
Which means, he's a black man.
Yeah. And I don't know what's up with his cowl, but I don't know how his head fits together. But oh my God, I know their slime was from Kevin Smith, and it's a flashback in the second episode where she's just talking about He-Man to her girlfriend, Black Girl, and she says she's telling the story, and it's portrayed out because they needed more time with He-Man in a different setting, so that they could lie to us in the trailer that had He-Man in it. It says this, Skeletor, I knew you had something to do with the pirates. Your face is on their flag. He's like, oh my God, what now?
Yeah, that's a stoned Kevin Smith move, if I've ever seen one.
Never mind the fact that the devil of Subternia is called Scareglow, and he has a skull head. But what the fuck ever. In the original comic, Skeletor was the brother of the king and tried to take power that way. And so he was always power hungry.
Mm-hmm.
God, just freaking awful. Evelyn is gorgeous as ever, so kudos on that one. Just so shitty what they did. And the voice of Tila, Sarah Michelle Gellar. Yeah. Like, there's nothing wrong with her playing Buffy, a vapid California high schooler, but playing a Eternian shield maid become Man-at-Arms, a little bit of an issue. Otherwise, the voice cast was excellent.
How cringy is Orko?
Orko's pretty solid. You know, he's terrible, but that was the thing about Orko. Everyone else was a moral certainty of being too faithful, or they had a fatal flaw that was normal. It was a positive thing. Too much honor, being too faithful, being too self-reliant, and then Orko, always attempting to save the day, would fuck it up. And their loyalty to their friend kept Orko around. But also, Orko is not Eternian. He is like, he teleported himself there or something, and he ended up getting stuck because he was a shit magician.
Right.
He was the Scooby and Shaggy of the gang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lena Headey was Evelyn. You wouldn't recognize most of the cast unless I named like other characters they were in other movies, but the cast was great.
And Cringer?
Cringer was solid as a scaredy cat, and ends up talking Tila into to going, and then that's the last you hear of Cringer. But the core group that sets out for this quest to save Eternia is Tila's girlfriend, Evelyn, and Beastman.
What?
Yep, with Orko and Roboto. And Beastman is a total simp to Evelyn.
Well, yeah, that kind of follows, though. I mean, it kind of was.
Yeah,
in 1983.
But that's why he was the one they picked. Because what was that guy's name with all the eyeballs?
Cyclops. Triclops.
Triclops. Yeah, I knew it wasn't Cyclops. Triclops with the rotate. He raised up an army after the death of Skeletor, and they were worshipped the motherboard. Technology over magic. So they kept getting in the way because she was trying to restore magic. You are alive.
Better late than never.
Yeah,
that's a thing, I guess.
Give or take. Some would argue. Yeah.
Is that what y'all been talking about?
Girls and stuff. He-Man, did you see it?
He-Man? No, I have not. Where's it streaming?
Amazon or Netflix.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have to catch it later.
You're about to get all the spoilers. Why not?
Shit. Go for it.
So they
We have been. You're late.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I
Almost
missed
for like
it all.
half an hour, really. It's a thing. And then it's just they all get their asses kicked to where they're almost defeated, and Duncan comes back, man at arms, saves the day from Merman, I think that was his name, and just absolute absurdity and stupidity and nonsense and garbage and trash. Like, did you want to learn more about Orko's people? No? Well, here's the storyline. For no reason. Yeah, we're going to include the storyline while they're visiting Hell, and it's going to be about 6 minutes. So, have fun with that. And then from Hell, gateway into Heaven, and in 2 episodes, we collected both swords. In another episode, we forged it. 1 episode, we set forth. Episode, we killed He-Man. And in the final episode, again, we killed He-Man. It's absolutely goddamn ridiculous. But the first half of the first episode, excellent. Minus the Tila, it's your big day. You're going to become man at arms. But they remade Grayskull into a person, and of course they made him a black person. It's like, huh? Would you name somebody who is black Grayskull without even having, I don't know, black hair? Like, there's no fucking reason his name should be Grayskull. There's no fucking reason Grayskull should have a skull for his castle when he has a head and he's got long dreadlocks that are not gray. Like, they didn't even make him aged or elderly to have gray hair so that Grayskull could be in any way connected with the words and the image. Just fucking stupid.
Missed their chance to call him Ashy.
But he's in Grayskull Heaven, so, you know, black don't crack. It's absolutely fucking infuriating, the way they handled it. Anyway, it would have been okay if it was like, we're doing something you love, but we're taking you in a different direction. So you'll see the characters that you enjoyed. They'll have smaller parts, but they'll be there. Then you've, like, managed expectations. And you're like, oh, okay. I mean, maybe I'll look at it. It wasn't super woke as far as wokeness goes. But they did, the character they added was black, female. And there is a subtle hint that when they're not sharpening swords, they're scissoring each other. For some reason, a plot needed to be put out that Evelyn was after Skeletor's bones, and Skeletor was so focused on taking over the world, he never saw it. So, never love yourself an obsessed man. That's fucking ridiculous. So, are you washing clothes or drying clothes, Garrick? What the fuck?
What you talking about?
I'm hearing a lot of spinning, washing noises. Or drying noises. But now I don't.
Touchscreen, probably?
So he might be sitting under a vent.
No, it's probably from touching the screen of my phone.
Okay, I guess it could be an electrical whatever. All right. But yeah, it was atrocious. The only one of the last remakes from my childhood mildly enjoyable was G.I. Joe. And they've ruined that by making Snake Eyes Asian. You can't have a fish out of water story if the fish is in the water.
Well, if they had gone the right way, it would have just been, whitewashing, and they got accused of that for doing Tilda Swinton as the whatever she was, and Doctor
The
Strange.
Grand, yeah, the Grand, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it was more related to Iron Fist than it was anything else.
Yeah, you can't tell those stories anymore. You can't replace any ethnicity with. Well, I shouldn't say that because they've got a black Anne Boleyn. So, but I mean, you can't go the other way. You can't have white people stand in for anybody anymore, or be the fish out of water. It's just not acceptable anymore.
There used to be a time when it was considered racist to make all the Asians the martial artists. And now it's pretty much a demand. No, if they know martial arts, they got to be an Asian.
Well, and that's going to come up this week when Matt does Big Trouble in Little China, because that movie gets accused of fetishizing, Chinese culture or Asian culture, and they actually did it the right way. So I mean, things have come full circle now, is that you can't have anybody else do it. You have to have the Asians, and they had all the Asians, but they got flack for it then, and here we are today, and they're going to get flack for it because it's now fetishizing the culture as opposed to, just portraying it.
Well, we'll break that down next week then, because if you look at any Asian in the background, they are probably one of the time's best choreographers for martial arts fighting.
Right.
Ali Yeong, Jimmy Law, besides for like the actual cast, which was Victor Wong, God damn it, the three terrors, and Lo Pan, and also the restaurant guys. Those were Asian actors, but everyone else was literally a Hong Kong American stunt team for martial arts.
Yeah,
it had every Asian fight choreographer on the goddamn planet in that movie. There was no one missing. And they had them on separate sides too, different stunt choreographers. Like Ali Young and a couple others were on the bad guy side, and then another group was on the good guy side. Which makes sense because when they fight each other, they had choreography and different styles.
Mm-hmm.
And if they weren't in that movie, they were in Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Probably
or Rising Sun. With Wesley Snipes. But yeah, it's gonna be a good movie. He's gonna ruin it for you, and I'm gonna laugh and laugh and laugh because that's how I felt with Tremors. Do monkeys have gray skulls? Yeah. They made Grildor. Well, first off, Orko was supposed to be called Gordo, and he had a G on his shirt. But because they were infamously cheap, Mattel was, they changed it to Orco, so it had an O. So anytime they had footage of Orco flying to the right, they could transverse it and have him flying to the left at zero cost. All you had to do was flip the image. That's how cheap they were. Like, every time Beastman flew into a machine, it was the same flight of the same Beastman and the same machine. Like, it's like with the Power Rangers morph. It's the same footage used over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like a quarter of He-Man was used over in a different He-Man.
Well, that was just Filmation. Filmation was notoriously cheap. They only had like 12 sound effects. They used all of them repeatedly in every show. Every time He-Man would run in, he would run in with those, his arms like he was flexing, run in and turn left, turn right, and then continue running.
Mm-hmm.
That was reused over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, and they started out knowing they were going to use it, so they gave He-Man the Iron Cross, which got flack because it's Nazi Germany. So they changed the symbol from an Iron Cross to his H, so that they could still have a symbol that was, transposable, I guess.
Right.
Transposable?
Opposable?
Opposable? Reversible?
Yeah, reversible.
Reversible.
Mirror imageable, but that's not really a thing.
Yeah, transpose. No, that would be putting it over something. I mean, well, over itself, really. Words. Well, some are good. So for the first time in 49 years of Olympics, USA didn't get a single gold the first day.
Well, gee, I wonder why.
I blame the wokeness.
The women's soccer team lost to Sweden, and the men's basketball team lost to France.
Have you seen those Swedish soccer players, though? Oh, my God.
They actually look like
Well,
women?
I've seen the English soccer players, and they only care about the 3 black ones, and they lost.
Look, I was talking on Discord with our meetup group here, and one of the girls kind of summed it up really well. It's like an entire team of Barbie dolls. It's amazing.
Well, the Swedish bikini team was a thing for a reason.
It was not a thing.
It was a thing.
I wish it was a thing.
It was a thing. There's a Playboy issue with them, and it's a thing.
Thanks, Milwaukee's best. I thought it was a thing way longer than I should have because of Dumb and Dumber, which just shows how stupid I am.
I don't understand why people like that movie. I really don't.
Because it's really funny in a stupid way.
Oh, it's so stupid that it's not funny.
Yeah.
But it's very juvenile humor, I guess.
At the end, when the Swedish bikini team comes out, and they're like, "We need lush applicators," and he's like, "You're in luck. There's a town just down the road full of people." Or no, it's, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" Yeah, Harry. You're in luck. Just down the road's a town. You fucking idiot. Whenever I see Jeff Daniels try to play somebody smart, like at that news show where he trashes on America's exceptionalism, I'm like, you once sat in Jim Carrey's piss until you froze to him on a moped. Go fuck yourself.
I actually liked that speech because it kind of rings true. I mean, we used to be great. We're not great anymore, and he's got all the wrong reasons for it, but it's true. We're not great anymore.
It's intentional. They're doing that on purpose to bring in the third world. Why else would academia be suffering?
Well, because we coddled our kids, that's why. Everybody's a special snowflake that deserves everything, and nobody ever was told to work for something. That's why China and the Asian cultures are kicking our ass academically. It's because they don't pull that shit. They beat their kids and tell them to be smart.
I took AP Cat classes in high school.
Hey, you know what? That's just proof that, continue beating till morale improves actually does work.
Well, no, their morale still sucks. There's suicide nets on the Apple facilities for a reason.
No, but you understand what I'm saying.
Right. No, it's just that what it is it's suffering in the short term for gain in the long. And America has lost the ability or the fortitude to for delayed gratification.
They're more concerned with making slaves that won't question things and bringing in grateful people who won't question things to actually teach them anything to make them think for themselves or be smart.
Yeah, it's easier to control the dumb.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of what we're experiencing right now. People can't think for themselves, apparently.
Mm-hmm. And more importantly, not only can they not think for themselves, anyone who dares try gets lit up.
True.
The herd, the crabs in the bucket will pull you down.
Well, I'm just talking about lobsters. Yeah. That was one of the largest failings of the Reagan administration was not canceling the Department of Education.
Yep.
Started under Carter.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Think about your schooling and think about what you learned in school that you can apply to your everyday life. There was a Gallagher special where he talked about he was a smart man and he could find the square root of a shade of a tree, but he couldn't get his baby out of an elevator because the school's not teaching you anything you need to know. At no point do you balance a checkbook. Do they teach you anything about contracts or mortgages? They used to have home ec, and I learned how to make fucking pancakes from scratch.
So they have a method of feeding yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Pancakes from scratch cost more than Bisquick.
That's true.
But you don't balance budgets. There's nothing that they want to teach you pronouns and jaded history and shit that won't matter in 20 years. The geography I learned in the 80s was not applicable by 1995. By the time I graduated high school, we'd lost Pluto. The USSR had broken up. There's now 26 new countries. And everything I learned in social studies is now ass backwards. And since then, they've implemented Holocaust classes. Because an event that happened 70 years ago that always seems to be changing is something that needs to be taught today. I was lucky enough to get a tort law class. It's literally ignorance of the law is no excuse. Where are you supposed to learn the laws? It's something you have to take up on your own to learn, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a tort law class in school. It was the last time tort law was given as a class. They stopped handwriting in my junior year and instituted typing because computers were the future.
Well, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's school sucks, and they're just trying to make it shittier.
Oh, speaking of school, I was watching or listening to this kid that's been developing the Freedom phones. Do you guys know it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Want to talk about it?
I am waiting for some of the tech people I watch to get their hands on them to take them apart to figure out whether or not they're going to be true to form, or at least live up to the marketing. The chances of them living up to the marketing are next to none. So we're going to have to see what kind of spyware, bloatware, whatever is on these things. But yeah, they're taking basically in order to hit that price point, they're going to have to take like a mid-range phone in today's market and try to sell it as these things, and the chances of them being as advertised are slim to none.
Well, that's what I was listening to him on Tin Pool, and now granted, I don't have the the subscription for the extended portion, but they kind of got into that a little bit, how the phone is designed and all that kind of stuff, where he sources all his stuff from. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a phone I bought in 2007 that was basically a precursor to the Freedom phone, and it had slides on the side. And this is before smartphones, so this was still a handheld device, more like a Nokia than it is the slide swipe bullshit that we do now. And you could turn off all access, so that the only thing happening would be if you had a call coming in, it would alert you that there was a call coming in, but none of your information was going out, and you couldn't make a call while that particular switch was off. I can't imagine a phone today that wouldn't add an inch of bulk if it had sliders on it to allow those sorts of things. But
Yeah,
it also had a walkie-talkie.
the way the codes work, computer codes work, is they have to have that constant communication and receive constant updates, and to do that they have to be instantly identifiable anywhere that they are, and they all have a unique identifier, so no matter what, something's getting tracked somewhere.
Mm-hmm. But what about this mesh network that he was talking about? To me, that seems like that's really susceptible to a lot of stuff being monitored or screened.
See, it's all open source. So what they're going to do is there's going to be new programs put out there, and every single one of those new programs are going to be susceptible to implanted malware, spyware, hackware, locateware, anything. And it'll be up to people who are knowledgeable on the subject to red light or green light it. Because it's basically a Linux phone.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to trust the software developers. You're gonna have to trust the geeks that you know, and I mean honest to God geeks that can, decode and tell you what every step is doing. And the ridiculous nature of code these days, it's hard to do. You really need to be an expert in it, and that means you're not doing other things if you're expert enough to suss it out And to make it work, that means you're not good at other things, so you're going to have to rely on other people for other things. And it's just so specific that the layman's going to have to put their trust into somebody somewhere along the line, and that's the point of entry. That's the breach.
Mm-hmm. A literally cabal of nerdy assholes team together to make sense of it. Because you know who's got those cabals? CIA has those cabals. The FBI has those cabals breaking into Proud Boy organizations to see if they can't get them to blow something up.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of Proud Boy related organizations, fuck Ian Haver and Black Rock Coffee, you did nothing to dissuade us in any way, shape, or form. Stop it.
You mean dissuade?
To dissuade.
Mm.
Yeah, they're. Matt said it last night, and I completely agree with him. Until you got backlash, you were perfectly fine with leaving the article as it was. And as far as I know, I mean, there are some black people in Black Rifle Coffee. There's I know of one black vet who's missing a leg, and Rico, who is some sort of Hispanic. But where was the racism? Huh?
Don't forget about Crispy.
Yeah. Isn't he missing a leg?
I don't think he's missing a leg. I think he's just crispy.
The chunky black guy?
Yeah.
He's missing a leg.
Oh.
Watch the Halloween episode.
Okay.
Yeah. But even then, where's the racism? You denounce Kyle Rittenhouse, and they say "fuck you" in your ways. Now, was it the anti-Semitism of figures you're this way when that's one thing, but when it comes down to brass tacks, you're a Jew. That makes sense. Yeah, it's the same thing I accuse Ben Shapiro of every 3 goddamn months. You know, like getting a toehold and then trying to change shit. It's what they've done. They did it to Disney, and Disney was notoriously anti-Semitic. And now a Jew is in the top spot, and every time he replaces himself, he puts a Jew in there. Because that's what they do in the working establishment. Once they get a spot, when they get promoted, they make sure that spot's filled with a Jew. It's not to say your local accountant is an evil bastard, but if you have an insular society, would you trust the outsider or another insider? You trust the insider. You bring in the insider. You put them in power, your old position, and you now claim a new position for the Jewish people. And when he gets promoted, he'll replace himself with somebody. They fought tooth and nail to get what's it called? When you hire your children.
Nepotism.
Yeah.
Nepotism. They fought tooth and nail to get nepotism out of the workforce so that they could replace them with Jews. No one is going to work harder for a father's company than the son who was raised in that company. The company to that kid could be a brother or a sibling or whatever, but you'll never get that in media. The entire world is raised by kids who want to be like their dad and take their dad's jobs. Police are full of it. Firefighters have a large draw of that. For a while, my dad was a truck driver. I wanted to be a truck driver. If your dad is the head of a company and he raises you in his image, only at nicer schools and places, you'll take that over. But there's not a single part of Hollywood, besides from that Chris Farley movie where his dad was Brian Dennehy. And he sold auto parts. Tommy Boy. No other movie has a son wanting to follow in his father's footsteps in a good way. It's always tearing it down and venture capitally or destroying it for a profit. It's propaganda. Because Jews.
So, I mean, it's just in-group versus out-group.
And I don't blame them for wanting in-group. I would trust in-group as opposed to out-group.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what... I mean, that's what everybody's accusing white males of doing. Well, there's so many white male CEOs because only white males want white males as CEOs. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you end up hiring a white male because they're a white male. I am hiring the best person to take over for me from the lower positions. And the lower positions are all white males. The white male will do more overtime, come in earlier, stay later, forego family events that the white woman with children will not, and happen to show up on time. That negates the blacks and the females. And unless we're talking about lawn care, that expressly limits the Hispanics. So that's white male CEO.
You shouldn't even say white. You should just say European.
Really? Because I'm a white boy, German, English, French Canadian, different versions of white. At no point is any of that purity.
Right. But like if you think about some of the big family-owned companies, you know, or even European companies, they've got the same supposed problem that American companies have, is that, you know, they're all run by white men. Well, it's not that they're white men; it's just they're European men because, again, in group. If you're running Dolce and Gabbana, your chances of that CEO being an Italian dude pretty damn high. Same with Ferrari, same with Lamborghini, same with Spanish companies, that none that come to the top of my head, other than the richest Mexican guy who is actually was for a half a second the richest guy in the world.
Oh, Carlos Slim?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to a girl over the weekend who is she's Spanish from Spain, and cutest little accent. Anyway, she hates all that talk, and I'm like, yeah, because you're the fucking conqueror. like America is so egotistical and stupid. They want to talk about there's no justice on stolen land. Okay. Who did we steal the land from? Oh, the Native Americans? No. Because Christopher Columbus, Mr. Fucking Pizza, came over in 1492. And the land was stolen from then on. It was conquered by Europeans. Manhattan was purchased. Louisiana, purchased. I think there's even a thing called the what's it called, Sean?
The Louisiana Purchase.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Thomas Jefferson buying it from
I know.
France.
I lived big part of my history
And
and culture and heritage.
France stole it technically from not the
It
Indians,
back and
Spain.
forth.
Spain, yeah.
Back and forth.
But like, you want to talk about conquering people for 100, well, really multiple hundreds of years. England had so much land that the sun never set on her soil. They had India. They still have islands south of Florida. They had parts of Europe. They had parts of Africa. There's trips. Alan Quartermain. It's a story of an Englishman who went to Africa and fucked shit up in a good way. God bless Alan Quartermain. May never die in African soil. And then next to England is Spain. Spain, like England, rinky-dink little fucking country that just happens to not be an island, like Britannia. Small little island, like 60 million people. And they conquered nearly all of South America up until Mexico. There's no indigenous Mexican language. It's Spanish. And everything except Brazil and parts of Argentina, which, don't get me started because Portugal's another rinky-dink little place. They speak Spanish. Continents were conquered.
Yeah.
India speaks English.
Now.
Same fucking reason, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware.
And even then, so this is funny. Like when I was a kid, it's like thank a soldier that you're not speaking German. I went to Germany at 99, 98, my senior year, and didn't get to practice my German because they all spoke English.
Mm-hmm.
And this girl I'm talking to, she's 22, and I learned Spanish in junior high, so I was like more than 22 years ago, and she speaks better English than I do, or better English than I speak Spanish. And her accent is way sexier. But yeah, those are conquering people. Do you consider Colombia conquered? Do you consider Mexico conquered? Because yes, land in America was taken from groups and then went over and fought for and stolen from England. You ignorant asses. You want to talk about minority status? You're talking about in your neighborhood. You're talking about on a state level, you're talking about on a country level. Because white is a global minority. 1.2 billion Asians over there in China. 1.3 billion Indians in India. There's something like 700 million whites on the planet. Russia, parts of Europe, here, Canada, Norway. That's a prison colony. It doesn't count.
New Zealand.
New Zealand definitely doesn't count. Those are the Mauis.
Yeah, you want to talk about a conquered land. New Zealand's got some issues.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess the people from Australia went to Lower Tasmania, which is New Zealand, and but yeah, that's just 3 well, it's two countries because America only has 330 million people. A large portion of that, 30%, is non-white.
Well, it depends
But
on.
yeah,
I mean, I guess it comes down to looking at it from the other direction. What do all these non-whites consider to be white? Like, we got the Zimmerman problem with a white Hispanic. Like, what? What's the difference?
what's the difference between a black man raised in Russia, a black man raised in Detroit, and a black man raised in Africa? Everything except the skin color.
Right. It's just like, you
It
know.
really is an individual basis. I love foreigners.
I mean,
Like,
does it come down to some sort of cultural? Is it just culture that people are rallying against and putting racial labels on? Like, is it white culture that people have a problem with? Is it, is it the culture as opposed
it shouldn't
to
be.
right? It shouldn't
White culture freed the slaves. Like, all of the slaves. A clock. What are you jumping in with, Margie? Clocks are Austrian, made by white people. Yeah, it's indeterminate on how it's is it somebody's color or somebody's upbringing? What determines what makes somebody disadvantaged?
Right.
Because if you can complain and get somebody fired from their job, you are not oppressed. If you can stop somebody from being hired on the power of your voice, you are not oppressed. It is not racism guiding you if you get stopped at a stop. Boo, Margie. No, they don't use Glocks. They use high points.
Glock's too rich for their blood.
Yeah, the cheapest pistols on the market that are high quality, far too rich for their blood. It's just a point of division. They would rather divide than face anything unifying in any manner. Because the bottom line is, in Detroit, Detroit's destruction is Detroiters' faults. And Detroiters are black. There's no one holding them back. There's the black mayor, the black police chief, the black city council, and the black police department ruining Detroit. Who else is doing that? There's white CEOs working in Detroit, paying Detroit taxes. Where's the money going? Hold yourselves accountable for your bullshit.
Well, that's what I've said about Flint for the longest time. It's like, who fucked up the water in Flint? Oh, they did. Okay, so maybe they should fix it. But no, somehow it's somebody else's fault and somebody else needs to fix it.
Mm-hmm. They've only been on the governor for the past 10 years because the governors have been white. They're not fixing Flint's water. Did they break Flint's water?
No. Literally, the city council decided that they were going to pull river water, and that's what fucked up the pipes. But somehow it's, somebody else's problem to fix. And isn't it a tragedy what happened to Flint? I actually agree, it is a tragedy what happened to Flint. And it should probably be fixed, but the first people in line to do that fixing are people in Flint. And until they get off their they need to get off their asses and start working on it. And then, I'm not even opposed to helping out because it's a fucked up situation. But until they start moving on it, fuck them. Till they take some accountability and responsibility and start working on it, they don't deserve any help. And it's not the fault of the people that are actually suffering. I'll be the first to say that. It's not their fault. Well, except that they were the ones who elected the city council that fucked shit up. But, I mean, on an individual level, it's not their fault. They shouldn't be suffering what they're suffering, but they're not doing anything to fix it. Which, you
Trump
need to.
said it best. You've been voting this way for decades. Vote for me. What do you got to lose? And Trump got more Latino votes. He got more black votes. He got more votes of every color except white votes.
White liberals.
His numbers were raised on every demo except whites. My guess is whites who watch MSNBC and CNN.
Mm-hmm.
But he was right. What do you have to lose? If it's a failure after failure after failure, give something else a try.
And it worked.
Looking at you, communists.
It worked.
Give something else a try.
But boy, was the hissy fit one for the ages.
It's still going on.
Yeah, it really is.
So, Garrick, what'd you bring us to talk about? Freedom Phone, what else?
I think that was about it. I've never seen Pee Wee Herman, to bring up last week's show, and I didn't get a chance to watch Young Frankenstein, but I plan on probably doing that tomorrow.
You should probably watch the Pee Wee's Big Adventure. It's a good movie.
No, I remember trying to watch a Pee Wee Herman episode, and I wanted to strangle him. Anything to make him stop. Now, granted, that's not the movie, obviously, but still, I think the movie would just be a really long episode, kind of like what The Simpsons was. And I like The Simpsons. I like the movie. I didn't like Pee Wee Herman. Why do I think I would like the movie?
Yeah, I hear you. I did like Pee Wee.
But as far as
But that was before
I
you
think that's
jerked
it.
off.
So, there's a lot of dead air going on here. What we going to talk about?
Anybody got anything? Yeah.
Oh,
I like-
sorry. The wife came in. I had to talk to her for a second.
Okay. I mean, I had thought of something to talk about a couple days ago, but I don't remember what it was. Fuck.
We touched on the Olympics, but barely. I haven't watched any of them because
I don't plan to either, but yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, that's been my problem as of
And
late as well.
I think the major problem is that NBC has the perpetual Olympic broadcasting rights, and this has been a problem since the 80s, is that they're more interested in telling, the personal stories of the Olympians and, the sob woke bullshit instead of just showing the events.
Mm-hmm.
And I sure as hell can't get behind any of the athletes that they're promoting. Especially the ones taking a knee, like Rapaho or whatever her bitch ass name is. Rapino, Rapaho, whatever.
Yeah, I think it's Rapaho.
You know what? I saw an article a couple of days ago that says, how the U.S. women's soccer team is, what it's like to be a champion, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you lost to fucking Sweden. You don't get to pull that shit unless you win. And we'll suffer through it if you win. But if you're losing, you're a loser. Yeah, you're a loser. You have one job. Your job is to win and dominate at the sport that you're supposedly talented in. If you can't do that, you don't deserve any support. And you certainly don't deserve any glorification.
Preach it, sister.
We don't get paid as much as the men. Because you lose to 15-year-old boys.
3-15 boys.
Yeah. I don't want to hear how good you are. You were good the last time you were there. Okay, sure. That was the last time. You have to do it again. It's like the dream team in basketball. Yeah, we dominated Olympic basketball for a while because we literally put NBA players in there who just nobody else could compete. Yet this time around, we just lost to France. Why should I support the USA basketball team? Literally a sport that was invented here when you can't beat France.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is France, dude. No one can hold their guard up like France. I mean, they all at practice holding their arms above their heads.
Yeah, that's true. But still. It's okay to lose at hockey to the Canadians, the Swedes, and
or the
Russians.
Russians. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so it's an amazing story when you beat those guys. That's an amazing story because you're not expected to do that. Okay.
But to be fair, our entire Olympic team is made up of Canadians, Swedes, and Russians.
But
looking at you, Gretzky.
Yeah. Do we have any dominant swimmers this time now that Phelps is retired?
Never cared for swimming. I would sometimes watch diving. I would always watch the finals of gymnastics. That stuff's cool. Boys and girls.
Yes.
Boys and girls beach volleyball. For the same reason, it's just fucking awesome. And track and field. Because it's sometimes mildly interesting and the girls are really cute. I mean, that's only female track and field. I don't give a fuck about javelin throw. Honestly, I think it's really weird, the javelin throw. Or the hammer toss. I think there's something kind of magical about pole vaulting, though.
Yeah, that's an amazing sport.
Yeah, I tried pole vaulting in high school. And that's a lot of upper body strength, a lot of ab strength.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have none of that.
So, I mean, not to take anything away from all of the athletes that are there. They're all incredibly gifted at whatever sport that they're trying to do. And that includes even the bitches on the U.S. soccer team. But when you flap your gums, you only get to flap your gums if you're the best. And you're no longer the best. Yeah.
Michael Phelps could talk shit. Ryan Locke could not.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys remember Ryan Locke, he claimed he got robbed in Brazil for his wallet when he left it in a cab while doing stupid shit in Rio. Also, didn't win. Shane White, Tony Hawk, Olympic
snowboarders and skateboarders.
Skateboarders talk all the shit they want. There's actually and I point this out like every year. So in 2008 in China, I was watching the Beijing Olympics, and the women's beach volleyball team was Missy May Hayes and Carrie Welsh, and Missy May Trainer. She had just gotten married. Sorry. And Missy comes up to President Bush, and she's like, "Mr. President, can you slap my ass for good luck?" And he goes, "Yeah," realizes what she asked, realizes what he said, and she puts her butt out to him. And he to not get put in a photo op of him looking stupid, he looks tremendously stupid. He swings his hand, brushes his knuckles against her spine, high above her ass. And she turns around like, "Are you stupid?" She's, "Thanks." I'm like, oh my god, it's so retarded.
Well, that was a gotcha moment, no matter what. Especially considering Bush was right after Clinton, and Clinton would have done it, no doubt about it.
It was 2008. That's way after Clinton.
I understand, but it's still one of those things that this is going to be politically disastrous, no matter what. So I mean, I kind of have a little bit of sympathy for Bush, but on the other hand, the dude in me is going to be like, "No, you smack that ass."
And it's an ass slap in a sport.
Right.
I did it a million times in football. You don't do it in wrestling, but if you want to ass pat for good luck in your sport, fucking give it. Don't be that weird.
Right.
And then he was in the stadium and he got drunk. They removed him from Beijing, claiming son.
Either way, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear the sob stories. I want to hear about us dominating and winning. And if we're not dominating and winning, I don't care.
They were upset about that girl who lost her mom a month ago and was found with weed in her system. They would have loved to have bragged about her coming back after the death of her mother, even though she hadn't had a contest in 3 months prior to qualifying for the Olympics. She was just training. Yeah, I love me some women's beach volleyball. But I also thoroughly enjoy the male beach volleyball. Just two guys on a full court and their communication. I watch the hell out of it.
Yeah, beach volleyball is a good sport.
I cannot remember the guys' names, but one of the dudes was 5'10" and like the body of a swimmer, and the other dude was like 6'7". And I'm like, so he's your spiker? But yeah, it was tall guy would always hit, and then short guy would set, and he was all over the place like a little ninja. And we won gold. Both groups won their gold.
Yeah.
Plus, final point. That's it was Maverick and Goose exactly. He was a tall white guy, shaved head, in the sun, in fucking Beijing. But they were playing against China, and it went first game to America, second game to China, and it was like 27-25 the first game, and it was like 29-27 the second game, and they flat out beat them in game 3. And both those girls were like 6'2" for China. It's like any Russian team where they're like. There's a thing in the 80s where the German team and then the Russian team, and the Germans were trying to point out that the Russian team had very deep voices. They're like, they're here to do flips, not to dance or not to sing. It's like, yeah, but pretty sure there's some doping going on.
You're not cheating. You're not trying.
You ain't cheating. You ain't trying hard enough.
Well, or you've got to be a genetic freak like Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps was a genetic freak. He was the Cedric Diggory of swimming. The fucking guy waddled outside of the water, had the wingspan of a Californian condor. When he shook your hand, he engulfed you up to your armpit. He could palm a basketball and suck his thumb. The guy was ridiculous.
Yep. He is definitely a freak.
And they showed
but
it
in the
which
best
would have been
possible way. A freak of nature in the best possible way.
for swimming. He had
Yeah.
no other sport possible.
Basketball could have been a
He was
possibility.
6'6" with a 29-inch inseam. I have a 28-inch inseam. He could have been a wrestler if he could have done something with his gigantic feet, which, if anybody ever genetically engineered a swimmer, it would have been Michael Phelps. If you skin a penguin and skin Michael Phelps, identical.
Close to, yeah.
It's just the teeth are a little different on each of them. But he's no longer in the Olympics. He retired, which is good because I heard he just hatched a baby recently. And so he's raised a family now. Or a rock. I'm not sure. I think it hatched. But, yeah, absolutely. The guy was built for water.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lot of gymnasts out there who actually the Swedish girls soccer team, a bunch of Barbies, long-legged, short-torsoed bitches, sprinting like gazelles across the goddamn pitch court.
Pitch.
What's it called?
Pitch.
Pitch. Okay.
Yeah.
I was right the first time. That's what you're looking for in that. And then there's talented people. Like very very seldomly you'll get a Muggsy Bogues in any field. But he was an anomaly in that instance. If you don't know, Muggsy Bogues was 5'4".
Who was shorter, Muggsy or Spud Webb?
Fuck yeah, I don't know, but I know Muggsy talked to Billy Crystal once.
I gotta look that up now because I'm curious.
I got it. Never mind. I don't got it. I typed in Schurter. Spud Webb, shortest NBA
Muggsy
player.
Bogues is actually the shortest in person in NBA history. Spud is the fourth shortest. Okay.
Excuse me?
Who are the other three?
Hang
Or
on.
two? Well, we know Bugsy, so who are the other two?
Hang on, I'm looking.
What the fuck?
Muggsy Bogues was 5'3".
Spud Webb was 5'7".
Yeah, Spud was 5'7".
I type in who is shorter, Muggsy Bogues or Spud Webb. I get Webb played 814 games in his NBA career, averaging 9.9 points per game and registering 8,072 points and 4,342 assists in 12 seasons. That gives me nothing.
Nothing related to what you want, anyway.
Yeah. Oh, since Webb made it his NBA debut, only two players have been shorter than he was, Muggsy Bogues and Earl Boykins. Who was the shortest NBA player to slam dunk, which is Spud Webb?
Muggsy
At
Bogues.
5'7".
Muggsy Bogues did it once. Exactly one time Muggsy Bogues dunked.
Oh, well, this says Spud Webb. Oh, he won a slam dunk contest. Spud Webb did. That's different.
Yes, no, Spud Webb had better hops. There's no doubt about it. But Muggsy Bogues, being shorter, actually did dunk the ball one time. One time.
Okay. February 8th, 1986, Spud Webb wins the slam dunk contest, beating his Atlanta Hawks teammate and 1985 dunk champ, 6'8", Dominique Wilkins. Did Muggsy Bogues ever dunk? Given the fact that Muggsy Bogues didn't ever dunk in game, the title of shortest NBA player to dunk belongs to Spud Webb, is what they're claiming.
I'm
That's
pretty
Hoop
sure
Beast.
that Muggsy Bogues did it exactly one time, and everybody lost their shit. And it was one of those ones where he was down court and got the pass, and he just had all the time in the world to do it, and he did it.
Yeah. They were fast guys. They were close to the ground. They stole the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That was their job.
Point guard.
Yep. All right. What else? What else we got? I mean, we definitely went off on a weird tangent. We could,
Yeah.
we could take this into off hours and harass the shit out of Steven.
We could do that.
All right, that be good.
I think so.
I get
I mean, we could. Let me get the transition up here and then get that ready. Okay.
You're gonna have to Google to find out if you're right or if you got that Mandela.
Maybe.
I've got it. I've got so many Mandelas. It's not even funny. But mine coincide with President Trump. He's on my side. I saw him dancing in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Garrett.
good night, buddy.
All right.